morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Dietitian on a Mission. My name is Janet Calderwood, and I'm a registered dietitian, and I want to welcome you to the show today. Today is a very special time of year. It's the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and with it, we have a very special holiday show. I have one of my favorite people here in the studio, Nicolette Rudd is here, and she's a chef, and she's going to help us navigate our way through the holidays with offering some healthy food options. And you know, it can be a high-risk eating time for so many of us, you know, parties and then so much stress, and we're very, very busy, and we want to include everybody and we want to do everything, but we can tend to overdo it. And it can be a nightmare for someone who is trying to create and come up with eating things that are good for us, that taste good, and have a great presentation. So I want to welcome you to the show today, Nicolette.
Thank you so much, Janet.
And so we've got a lot of different ideas for people. I think, you know, when I think about going to a cocktail party or having a dinner, it's always a challenge to try to find things that aren't laden with grease and different things like that. And I'm sure you too. I mean, you're very knowledgeable. You've been doing this for many years, and so you've seen a lot. And not just about fruits and vegetables, which are the framework of any healthy diet, but how can we include some really tasty hors d'oeuvres and other ideas that we have for children, and we're going to talk about all these things. So I want you to take notes today, because maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to integrate some of these food items for your own holiday celebration. And so I don't even know where to start. I'm a little overwhelmed. I want to eat everything on the table. And I'm really amazed. We talked about a lot of things. She's going to talk about things for children and just different types of desserts and what she's done to make things healthy. And so we're going to talk about those things. Where should we start?
Well, there's a lot to start with. I figure we'll go with the basics. It's always hard at a party to find a balance of real food.
Real food.
Versus processed foods or high sugar items. Mm-hmm. And what I tried to do was create a full table of actual fuel for your body, whether it's proteins, fruits, vegetables, high vitamin content in all of them. And so the balance of it came out looking like this. So I'll actually start right here, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let's look at this. Now this is this looks like chicken. Some kind of chicken satay or something.
It is, with a tzatziki on it, with the Greek yogurt.
Tzatziki sauce. Has anybody ever heard of that? That's a delicious, creamy cucumber and dill.
Cucumber and dill, and it has some nice garlic in there and some lemon, and so you have a nice base of a Greek yogurt, which of course
is very healthy.
Plain, very healthy for you. Very simple marinade on the chicken, which was lemon, pepper, garlic, and just grilled it off.
Okay.
And then just a nice accent with it is the peppers with a little bit of plain hummus.
Okay.
And then a nice combination of eggplant and red peppers and quinoa on top in there. It's just a nice balance.
So I'm going to be asking the tough questions now, because I'm going to let you all know this. Most people know that I am not a gourmet chef, but I do enjoy eating gourmet food. And so what I want to know, for starters, is with the chicken satay, so you're just taking a breast of chicken and grilling it and then cutting it up?
I tried to make it simple so people could copy it pretty easily, and I actually took the chicken tenderloins. You can buy them frozen or you can buy them fresh.
Good.
And marinated them, sliced them directly in half, skewered them, and then I, of course, always soak the sticks first so that you don't burn off.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to need a fire extinguisher in your right hand at all times.
Exactly. So I soak them in a Ziploc bag with water and then skewer them right before I'm going to grill them. So I marinate them separately and then grill them off quickly. And
put them right on the grill.
Right on the grill.
And then when you say you marinate them, tell me again, what did you marinate them with, and how long did you marinate them?
I marinated them for 24 hours in a Ziploc bag with my squeezed lemon, and I did a little lemon zest, and then some garlic and pepper.
And that's it? Okay, I got that. And then And you put them on the grill for what? And just until they're cooked?
Just until they're cooked. It does not take long, otherwise you're going to get a very dry product. So you
Okay.
want to sear them off where they look nice. And I always know I'm going to waste one because I want to break it open, make sure it's thoroughly cooked.
Uh-huh.
No red, no
The taste
pink.
test.
You know, and make
No
sure it's all right.
salmonella poisoning or
Exactly,
anything like
exactly.
that. And so think about it. Chicken, white meat chicken is very lean. It's a great source of protein. And having the tangy tzatziki sauce, which is made with the Greek yogurt, another protein with a nice, very, I think, light dressing, makes it taste very good. And that's a wonderful idea for either, you know, if you're going to a party, bringing a dish with you. And I like the way that you have this presented. And then you've actually put the hummus inside the little peppers here. She's put the hummus in there. And then she just put a little bit, it looks like a tomato concasse or something.
No, it's actually marinated and roasted eggplant and red pepper and zucchini.
Okay.
With quinoa.
So marinated and roasted. Okay. And then
Right on the grill.
right on the grill with everything else. And you take, when you're roasting the vegetables, you're leaving the skin on, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
do.
is that standard? or-
You'll roast them, and then if you want to peel the skins off, you can put them into a bag after you roast them, and it helps
And
the
the
skin to
sweat.
separate.
Okay.
And you can peel them
So,
up if you like.
all right, so that makes it easy instead of having another chore to try to get the skin off in the beginning.
Exactly.
Okay, work smarter, not harder. I say that often,
Exactly.
and you'll hear me say it again. So that's a great thing. And then what I really like, you know, I'm just going to point something out. So on the skewer, and that's what? That's about a 2-ounce piece of meat or 1 ounce?
It's actually just over 1.
1 ounce piece of meat. So you're not like putting a 14-ounce ribeye here. So one of the strategies to help people eat and snack on foods during the holidays is really having these individual size portions so that people don't get carried away. I mean, it would be pretty obvious, right, if somebody came up and took 10 chicken skewers and there was only 2 left. So you don't have to really load things up. It would be better if you're, you know, it's a popular item, you can always have extra made in the kitchen. But one of the things that we know is that people eat with their eyes, and of course when you see all these wonderful things on the table, people are going to say, oh, I just want to eat everything. I mean, that's what I want to do right now. And then, but the more you put out, the people will say, well, gosh, you know, somebody's going to have to eat all this food. It might as well be you or me, right? So I think, and from a cost-effective standpoint, and also just to remind people, hey, you know, take what you want, but don't overdo it. Save some for everybody else.
Yes.
Exactly. And one of the things that I think you notice, we're standing up. We're not really this tall, but we're standing up behind this table. And when you do go to a party and it is a cocktail reception or something, and people are mixing and mingling around the table, you would never want to just stay here at the table. You would want to take your little plate and put some goodies on your plate and then go as far away from the table as you possibly can, and hopefully find a nice chair to sit at and actually enjoy the food. So that, you know, because if you're just standing up eating and putting things in your mouth, you're not going to enjoy it as much. Would you agree with that?
We overeat if we're just standing there. We will just have a tendency. It becomes a habit just to pick up another
it's a habit,
item.
isn't it? Okay, well that's a beautiful, lovely, colorful display. You've got a lot of different colors there, and that, of course, is eye appealing to many people. So that's a wonderful addition to any type of cocktail reception hour. Or, man, I would just be happy if somebody made that for me for lunch once in a while. I'd be happy about that. Okay, what's next on the agenda?
Following the theme of the tzatziki, I wanted to show that with the cucumber and the tzatziki, you can also use a shrimp
Okay.
rather than a chicken if you have a preference for that. So I want
Uh-huh.
to kind of show you that you can just add that into the center of a cucumber wrap, and then
you just kind of
I put a baby cucumber on the bottom and then I wrap it. I use it on a mandolin and I slice it extremely
really
thin.
I have a mandolin.
And then wrap it around.
I've never used it, but I have one. Okay,
So
good.
that way you get, you know, the nice flavor. If you're not a chicken fan, you can also go with the shrimp, and it's just a different format.
For somebody that is vegetarian, would there be something else you could?
You could just pull the shrimp off. They're still adorable, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got your cucumber. And I've never tried a grain with those, but
like
you
a
can
cracker or something?
Yeah, you could try something like that. But even without the shrimp in there, they're still an adorable little hors d'oeuvre.
And you could even, you know, if you wanted, you could put like red peppers in there for Christmas. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but
Sounds like a great idea.
yeah, but you know, it'd be great to dip, right? Because it's a low-fat dip still, and anything really, anything goes. You could, you know, just don't put your finger in there and then walk away and then expect somebody else to pick that one up, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's good. So that's the tzatziki sauce, and that's wrapped in the cucumber, and then with the shrimp. I like that.
Exactly. Then for those who like a little bit more of a grain item or a little bit heavy, you know, we've got the mushrooms, and there's actually a little bit of feta in there.
Okay.
And then on top is actually sauteed gently together is green onion, barley on half of them.
And we know barley is a whole grain. If you watch this show, you know that. Good,
So
good.
there's barley on there and a tiny, tiny bit of Parmesan. So
I'm going to taste one of these. I'm going to tell you what it tastes like. Let's see. Now,
did you grab the barley or the quinoa?
pretty good. Pretty good.
When they first come out of the broiler, when they're nice and toasty, it's nice crisp on top.
So there's no meat in this?
No.
And they're very meaty. They're really, like you said, with the cheese, and I mean, they
It's
have
filling.
a great taste. Filling. I'll probably eat the whole plate, but anyway, good. Those are delicious. So that's a stuffed mushroom cap. What kind of mushrooms did you like to use for that?
Oh, you know what? Believe it or not, I get whatever's on sale that week. I like different ones. I just look for a nice large mushroom.
Like a
And-
baby Bella or something, or
I don't know. I use anything. I just whatever
Anything
anything
that
that's a
you
nice.
can
I
put
actually
stuff
go
in?
and I see that week what is a nice size that week.
and then you actually have to empty out the top
You pop out the stem,
to pop out the stem.
and I
okay.
put them on a very low heat with a lid on it, so I don't have a lot of oil or something in the bottom of the pan to saute. I just let
Okay.
them gently cook. Wait till the water drains because mushrooms become very watery as
Yeah.
you're cooking them.
Okay.
So I always want to put them so
You
that they
flip
can
them?
drain onto a paper towel before
Oh.
I fill them.
Okay.
And then I put a little feta,
Okay.
and then after I've sauteed the barley with the green onions, and actually I chop up the stems of the mushroom and put that over the top.
That's really, and you know
And
what's
broil
great
them off.
about broil them off, and you know this is number one. You're getting high fiber here, whole grains. I mean, like you said, you know how you said fuel for your body. Everything in that. I mean, you know, you're not using a whole lot of cheese. We could argue that, hey, you know what? The thing that I tell people is I don't expect everybody just to eat fruits and vegetables and whole grains and all this without a little bit of variety and to enjoy your food, because you know, sometimes having different options, and this is a special occasion, right? This is the holiday season, so you can feel good about maybe choosing foods that you aren't normally eating. You know, you don't have to have a salad every day, and not leave the party feeling laden with guilt, and condemnation, like, oh gosh, I blew the diet. You know, you can still feel like you're still on track with things, but just don't eat the whole plate like I was thinking, because I'm not really going to do it. But you know, and that's why you want to take your plate away from the buffet table or wherever you are and really sit and taste these different flavors. It makes it more enjoyable.
It does. It really does. And I think the fact that it has such a small amount for the flavor, you only have like a quarter of a teaspoon.
Really amazing. I mean, I'm actually shocked. I didn't think that. I mean, they're very, very tasty,
I do
and
like them.
even for people that don't like mushrooms,
Exactly, because you get the very meaty flavor in there.
very meaty, savory flavor. That's what we call that. All right. What else do we have over here, my
Well,
friend?
finishing off chicken, for those who like, it's a twist on a lettuce wrap, and it's chicken and apple and salsa.
Really?
with a very tiny bit of cheese over the top just to broil it off. And of course you
Okay.
can't set it on the lettuce when it's roasting hot.
Okay, so now we got to review this. So we have this chicken, you've diced the chicken up, and then you mixed it with salsa and what else?
Salsa of your choice, and believe it or not, peeled and diced apple.
Peeled and diced apple. Now,
So I actually
where
cooked
did you
the
come
chicken.
up with this combination?
Actually, another chef. That's one thing that's nice is I have a lot of chefs that love to share recipes with each other, and he actually shared that with me.
And so
He puts them in a quesadilla and grills them off so you have the flour tortilla, and I tried to bring it into a healthier level.
Thank you for doing that. So the chicken and then the apple is cooked too, correct?
I cook all the chicken off first,
Okay.
and then I will add in the apples just for a few minutes because you don't want it really mushy. You still want a nice
You don't
little
want
bit of that
apple
crisp.
sauce.
You want still a little crisp in there. Yes.
Okay. And then you put what kind of cheese on top?
Just a tiny bit of a mixed Mexican cheese. You know, gives it a nice little
And
finishes
then
it off. You
look,
can do it without
it's-
cheese if you're not a cheese person. You could. I just like that added tiny bit.
Well,
to broil it.
people from Wisconsin will be happy that you're saying that. Believe me, they love cheese there. And then what's even clever is that you put a little bit of the avocado on top to go with that Mexican
Exactly.
type theme. That was, and I just want to thank Nicolette's son and daughter. They came with her and they helped set all this food up, and really everybody did a great job. So kudos to them. All right, so we've got that, and then you put it on a little bit of a lettuce, and you just take one.
And you can just pick up the whole thing, wrap it up, and eat it just like a
Okay.
regular lettuce wrap.
Little lettuce wrap. You don't need a fork. And again, the portion sizes on these things. So you wouldn't see somebody. There's enough there.
That'll give you a nice fill. If you're come to a party hungry, and the last thing you want to do is start digging into the Snickers and the Twix and anything like that.
Right.
It's like a little tiny meal in a wrap.
A meal and a wrap. Wrap and go.
A wrap and go. That
Wrap
way
and
you
go,
can get one,
right?
get out of the way.
Okay. Now, what do we have here? This beverage over here. What is this?
It's just a nice cider. You can get a few ciders are out there made nicely with a combination of different apples. You always want to look for one that's made with a few different apples rather than one brand.
And why is that?
You get a much better flavor. When you blend different apples, you get a much crisper, better flavor.
Some are mealy, and some are for baking, and some are for.
Some will be crisper, some will be sweeter. I lived in Washington and
Oh, wow.
near the orchards, and boy, is that a wonderful thing. You learn a lot about apples.
And you got to pick a lot of apples.
Yes. So I did that, and then anytime you add a cinnamon and orange, and the cranberry is more for just the flair, just to add the color to your party.
And then she put the orange. She took some orange slices, and they're floating on the top. And they all float like that. I mean, how did,
it just adds it just adds a festive look to your party.
I'm glad that they float like that, and they didn't sink to the bottom. That's
why
really
you
neat.
use those items. It floats nicely.
And then so would that be served chilled, or would that be served hot?
You can do either way. And at Christmas time, many people like to add additional spices and make it more like a wassail. And it depends. Florida, it's cool. You want something cool.
Santa Claus
you don't
is
want
wearing a bathing suit.
Exactly. So for today, I thought, well, I'm going to go cold rather than a hot spice.
And
cider.
and with a lot of those spices, you're going to have to watch one of our upcoming shows we're doing on herbs and spices. But there's so much nutritional value in some of these spices that we're finding more and more, and not to mention that it really gets your senses going, right? I mean, the health benefits of spices, and plus, it just smells like Christmas, doesn't it?
It does, and that people, like you said, they feast with their eyes, and they love the scents. They love to watch. They love to see the color, and it's more satisfying as you eat.
Right, exactly. Okay, and we do have. I see there's a couple little dessert cups down here.
There are. This is a unique. Everybody wants a little bit of sweet. Most people, a little bit of sweet, and if you notice, the catch is always in moderation. Little. However, these are not as evil as you might think.
Really?
Yes.
They're not as devilish as they look?
They're not. It is
Okay.
actually, believe it or not truly mousse. It is
Not truly
not
mousse.
truly mousse. It's cottage cheese blended low-fat cottage cheese until it's extremely smooth, like a whipped cream.
Okay.
And there's actually just berries blended in with the one, and then I put it through
With the low-fat cottage cheese?
Yes. And a tiny bit of stevia.
May I taste one? I can't resist. I got to try this. Let
Go
me
right
try
ahead.
this one. So this is the low-fat cottage cheese with berries blended in?
And a tiny bit of stevia. That is all that is in there. I tried to, the less products you have, you can taste the true product in there without.
That is delicious. Now how much, tell us a little bit more about this.
It's that simple. Literally, you blend it. I have an immersion blender. Some people call them a stick blender. I love that product. I think there needs to be one in every kitchen if anybody wants to cook.
Okay.
Because it can get a product that smooth. Your soups, your tomato soups,
It
anything.
doesn't
creamy
taste,
thing.
I hate cottage cheese. I can't believe that this is, it's
Wait till
really
you try
delicious.
the chocolate one because the same concept is in with the chocolate.
Bring
She
it
said,
on.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Now this, I like to use a very high percentage of chocolate, like a cacao in there.
Okay.
Because then you're not using like a milk chocolate trying to blend it into this kind of product. And you have to very slowly blend it in so that you don't
That's a
seize
rich,
your
dark
chocolate.
chocolate flavor.
And that's
very
also
good.
done with the cottage cheese.
And so what's the portion of like with the chocolate and the cottage cheese and all? Is that pretty complicated?
It's not that complicated. I would say it was probably about a quarter of a cup of darker chocolate, 72%. And I think it was a 16 ounce of cottage cheese that I blended.
And then, so did you melt the chocolate?
I melt the chocolate, and then I have to you have to very slowly temper in the
Okay.
dairy product with it. Otherwise, chocolate, when it is melted, if you start to add things, it will just seize back into a lump. Because that's what chocolate
Well,
is. When
and
it's
the
not
melting
melted,
point.
it becomes, so you have to use it very slowly and blend it in.
I will demolish this later, believe me. That is really good. And so that's very simple. Low-fat cottage cheese, I mean, who would have thought, right?
In essence, you figure cottage cheese and berries, how many people eat that for breakfast? And instead, it's a little dessert.
My goodness. And you know the thing is if people ever came to my house for a buffet and they'd see all this beautiful food that my good friend Nicolette made, they would think, gosh, you know, it can't possibly be good for them, but yet it is. And that's the great thing, is that you can still enjoy your holidays and eat food that tastes good.
Exactly, exactly.
Those are good. And what I really like is notice the serving size. I mean, this is what, a 2-ounce cup?
Yes.
Very small. So you're looking at like what, 60, 70 calories in that?
I'm not even sure if it's that
Yeah.
many. I would have to count.
Not that
Calculate.
many, but I mean, look, good stuff. All right. I don't usually get to do that, so I have to,
You can enjoy.
I can enjoy it.
There's only two what I call fatter products on this table, and this would be one because it's made with a Parmesan crisp underneath it.
Oh, okay.
So as you're baking them, however, a lot of the oils come out,
Okay.
and you can take a paper towel and
Blot
soak
it.
that up, so you actually have less fat than had it been straight. So it's a nice Parmesan crisp.
Now, how do you make a Parmesan crisp?
I always grate fresh. I prefer to get a nice quality Parmesan. Parmigiano Reggiano can be a little costly, so
Yeah.
you still want to get a nice Parmesan.
Okay.
I grate it up and I use a Silpat, which are those rubber baking sheets,
Yes.
silicone sheets. And I bake them directly on there at 400 until I just see them getting golden and pull them out quickly because they will, of course, start to burn around the edges. And then on top of that, I like to cook down onions because Vidalia onions have such a nice flavor.
Do you think Vidalia onions are the best cooking onion to use?
I love them.
That's your favorite?
Yes. And as I was taught by a lovely Sandra from Georgia, she says, Vidalia, darling. You must say Vidalia.
They're sweet, right?
Yes, they're very sweet.
Okay, I have a
and
quick
they're lovely.
question. What's the best way to prevent your eyes from crying when you're cutting these things?
I have heard many ways, and nothing works except for the glasses. I just cry my eyes out. I'm extremely sensitive to them.
I saw something.
They're actual glasses.
They said, put a wooden spoon in your mouth and bite down. Have you heard of that
I have
one?
not heard that one. I've heard many, but I have not heard that one.
I tried it and it didn't work.
I've
So-
found nothing works other than the onion glasses. You can literally purchase
onion glasses. It really works. And you know the thing, open up the freezer door, stick your head in
That
there.
I do.
I do that
When
too.
I'm doing a large quantity, I'm like, okay, a mess, water dripping,
cut the onions before you put your makeup
before you do
on.
anything else.
Okay,
exactly.
and so this is tenderloin on top?
It's a nice lean tenderloin, just with garlic on it, pepper, and a very tiny bit of salt, because you really have the Parmesan, you're not needing salt in there.
But in the onions add a lot of flavor to that
it does.
too.
It does. This is a very flavor-packed item, and typically you're going to have guys running around, they want something
Meat.
a little more hefty.
Yeah, the meat and
Exactly.
potato guys.
So this is a huge fan, and if you don't mind a little bit of an alcohol, you can also, sometimes when you're doing the onions, I used to add a bourbon in there for one of the orders that people loved. They liked a little bourbon in with the onions.
Oh my gosh!
so.
All right. Now we have so many other things. We're running out of time here. What are these beautiful little quiche?
They are actually quinoa quiche. And
Quinoa, and we know that
yes.
quinoa is a whole grain. If you watch this show, correct? It's an ancient grain. Beautiful.
And it just blends a nice. You get something wholesome in there if you don't want. If you eat eggs, but you don't like to eat the meat products. It's just people love to have those baby quiches, but typically they have a crust, which just adds
And this
white
is
flour and
crustless.
fat. They're crustless.
This is crustless but not tasteless. I tried one earlier, and there's broccoli in there.
And red pepper and onion and just a hint of cheese and definitely garlic. I love garlic.
Are you a garlic girl?
I'm a garlic girl.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. And then these are adorable. These are little. We talked a little bit about coming up with some things for children because, holiday gatherings and stuff, children are special. We want them to have things too. So what she's made are Santa hats.
Well, it's the Grinch. It's the Grinch with
the
his Santa.
Grinch.
He's green and he has his Santa hat on.
That's adorable. And look, it's a grape, a banana, a strawberry, and a teeny tiny mini marshmallow. So that's a beautiful little thing that kids will enjoy.
And children
kids
are,
of all ages.
And children are more likely to eat something if it's fun and if it looks fun, like a choo-choo train and a snowman.
A choo-choo train and she's put carrots and peppers in this, and then this is, what is this?
That is cauliflower.
Oh my goodness.
So it looks like snow. So the train is running through the
Isn't that
snow.
adorable? My goodness. I think most people could do this at home.
They very easily. It's actually very simple. It just takes a few minutes. You just take time. Toothpicks, baby cucumbers. You can put any kind of vegetables in there that you prefer. You can even fill it up with little grape tomatoes if you like.
Grape tomatoes, okay. And we have about 1 minute left. We've got some roasted Brussels sprouts here.
Yes.
And you skewered those up with
I
the
did.
balsamic reduction.
Yes.
And some, I think,
Orange and balsamic, that is all. You roast them up nicely. It's something easy to grab. People are getting a nice vegetable in there.
And who is Frosty the Snowman?
Frosty the
What's he
Snowman
made
is to
of?
go with the kids because kids love things like that. That is a heavier product. It has some cream cheese in there, so it's
Okay.
that mixed with a Parmesan cheese and a little bit of spices in there. So it goes with their vegetables or a cracker, like a whole grain crackers behind there with just a lot of the seeds and grains.
And then quickly, we just have seconds. This
Okay.
is like a
apple crisp,
apple crisp.
baked apples with
Baked
a
apples.
maple syrup.
And
So very
that's
simple.
it. And we are out of time. And I hope that you have some great ideas for your holiday meal. See you next week.